Alrighty, so what we are going to do right now is we are going to learn how to factor out a greatest common factor. So write your title, factor, I can factor out a GCF from an expression. And you might say, but what is a GCF? I'm going to explain that. So a GCF is a greatest common factor. So let's look at an example first of what is a greatest common factor. What even is a factor? Well, let's look at the example of the number 40. Okay, what are the things that I can multiply together to get 40? Well, I could multiply 1 times 40. I could multiply 2 times 20. I could multiply 4 times 10. I can multiply 5 times 8. And if I'm not sure what else I can multiply by, I can use my calculator. So maybe I'm thinking, oh, maybe I could multiply by 6. So I'm going to do 40 divided by 6. No, that's a really yucky number. What about 40 divided by 7? Nah, super yucky number. So those don't work. So I've got all my factors here. Okay. When we add the word common factor, we're talking about we've got two numbers and we're getting the factor in both of them. So I'm going to give a second number. What about the number 70? Okay, so what are the factors of 70? I could do 1 times 70. I could do 2 times 35. Oh, go away. I know advisory is starting. Okay, 3 times, oh, I don't think 3 goes in nicely. 70 divided by 3. Nope, not nice. 70 divided by 4. I'm using my calculator. 70 divided by 4. Nope, not nice. What about 5? Yeah, 70 probably goes into 5 nicely. Yeah, 5 and 14. What about 6? No, not very nice. Oh, but 7 would be one. 7 times 10. And I know it doesn't work for 8 and 9. Okay, so now I've got the factors for both, and I'm looking for the greatest common factor. Now, a common factor is a factor that's in both. So like 1 is in both, and 2 is in both. But is that the greatest common factor? Let's see, 5 is in both, and 10 is in both. So the greatest one is going to be 10. So between 40 and 10, my greatest common factor is 10. Now let's put that into an example with an expression. Oops, I went backwards. Okay, here we go. So if I had an expression like 40 plus 70x, how could I factor out the greatest common factor? That's going to look like this, with my greatest common factor out here. Now my greatest common factor I've already found, which is 10. And so what I'm going to do to figure out what goes inside these parentheses is I'm going to do 40 divided by 10, which in this case is 4. And I'm going to do 70x divided by 10, which is 7x. And I'm going to bring this plus sign down. Okay, so I have now simplified this with the greatest common factor method. Now I can double check this and make sure I'm going kind of the backwards way. Can I get the same answer both directions? Well, I'm going to multiply. 10 times 4 is 40. 10 times 7x is 70x. Yes, I get the same thing. So this is indeed my answer, my factored form where I factored out the greatest common factor. Now let's look at another example here. We'll practice with a little bit more complicated with an x involved. So what if I have 20x squared plus, let's do 10x. Okay, so first job is that I need to find my common factors and then find my greatest common factor. So my factors of 20 are 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, and I think that's all. Okay, my factors of 10 are 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. Whoops, I wrote 50 there. I don't know why. 4 times 5. Okay, so my common factors are 1, 2, and 5. So my greatest common factor is 5. So I'm going to put this in the same form I did earlier. Okay, I've got my greatest common factor right here. But I haven't finished this greatest common factor because I've got these x's to do. Okay, now what is x squared is truly x times x. What is x? Is just an x. So I'm going to figure out what is the least amount of x's in here is the 1x. That's what I'm going to factor out. Okay, now I need to figure out what to put inside of my parentheses. So I'm going to do 20 x squared, I'm going to write it like this, divided by 5x. 20 divided by 5 is 4, and then one of my x's cancels out. So I'm left with 4 and 1x. I'm going to do the same thing here. 10x divided by 5x, well, 10 divided by 5 is 2. X divided by x goes away, so I have a plus 2 right here. So this is my factored form of this. And remember, you can always check it to make sure that it's working. Now let's do another example. Let me get my background, a good background. Here we go. So this is, again, I'm going to level you up with another example. Negative 40x to the fourth minus 16x squared. So we've got several things going on. We've got some subtractions. We've got big exponents. So let's start with the basics. We're going to figure out what is our GCF and what goes in our parentheses. So first I'm going to start with the fact that there is a negative on both of these. If there's a negative on both, then that negative can cancel out. If there's not a negative in both, go ahead and keep the negative where it is. Okay. All right, now let's figure out the factors of 40 and 16. Well, factors of 40, 1 and 40, 2 and 10, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. That is all. My factors of 16 are 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4. So what is my greatest common factor? I have an 8 in both of them, so I'm going to pull out an 8. Alrighty, next I'm going to figure out, again, what is my smallest number of x's? And instead of actually writing those out, I'm just going to look. Well, 4 is the biggest, 2 is the smallest, so I'm going to pull out the smaller number there. I'm going to pull out an 8x squared. So I pulled my negative out, I pulled my 8 out, and I pulled my x squared out. I'm going to see what goes in here. So negative 40 x divided by negative 8 x. What cancels here is the negative sign cancels. 40 divided by 8 is 5. X cancels, and I'm left with 2 x's. Remember, we're subtracting. 4 minus 2 is 2. Now I'm going to do my negative 16x divided by negative 8x. My negative cancels. 16 divided by 8 is 2, and both of my x's go away. Okay, since my negative canceled, that means that I have a plus sign here now, and this is indeed the fully factored version of this. Okay, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.